Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, your regular dose of insights and motivation for merchant service sales, digital marketing, and personal growth.
Good morning, John Johnson here, and welcome back to Get Your Mind Right, the world's only payment technology and digital marketing podcast made especially for those sales professionals. Hey folks, if you haven't heard, we've expanded our offering here to both Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So look at us there, check us out, subscribe. The other thing is we're growing our viewership all the time here, and that's all due to word of mouth here. I appreciate that about you. Hey, this is our second installment on overcoming objections. And if you missed the one from last Wednesday, I strongly urge you to go back and check it out because it is the Mac Daddy of objections, the I want to think about it. So to give a brief recap of that is when we do this, it's very important how we handle this objection, okay? I don't want to be the snappy comeback guy where immediately if someone says, I want to think about it, well, what is it that you want to think about, okay? It's really off-putting and it's aggressive. What I'm going to do here is I got to give the client some room and space to breathe. What I'll do in this instance of a buyer's choice or a cash discount sale is I might say to them, Mr. Client, when I get this far in the process and I hear this, it generally means one of two things. I've not explained the whole program correctly or to great enough detail for you. Or number two, you just don't think the solution is going to work for you. Tell me, do you fall in one of these buckets? Okay. What this is going to do is then allow us to have the client the space to give us what the real objection is. Now, whether they respond to one or two, it doesn't matter not. Because again, I'm getting to the root of the matter. I'm going to find out what their objection is, and I've got a chance of winning this business. So let's shift gears a little bit on today, and let's talk about how we might apply this to a digital marketing sale. Now, the reason I bring that up is a little bit different than a buyer's choice in that when I'm selling a digital bundle, there's going to be a monthly recurring cost of that, but there's probably going to be a setup fee as well. So when I get that client that tells me I want to think about it, I got to change gears here on my overcoming objections. And for me, here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to say, Mr. Client, when I get this far in the process and I hear someone say this, it means one of two things. That generally, A, I haven't done a good job of explaining it or completely giving you all the details on our service and its benefits. Or number two, you don't think the price is right. Okay? Now, I think we know how to handle the first part of that objection. But let's say the client says, you know what, John, you're right. It is the money. Well, again, let's start off with what we don't want to do. Because here's what 100% of the time a bad salesman does and how they respond to this. They immediately lower their price. I'll tell you a little story. This is when I was a young sales guy that my partner was actually handling the sale on this, and the client said, hey, yeah, it is the money. So what my partner did on this was immediately lowered his price. Well, how about this price? And the customer was a little surprised at that and says, oh, well, that's great if you could do that. But the problem with the money is it's December now, and I'm out of budget for the year. Now, I can do this in January, so that's great. I mean, I didn't realize I could get it at a lower price. A number of things bad happen here, folks. Is first of all, my partner here showed the client that he was just there to grab all the money he could because the guy didn't even ask for it and he lowered his price on this. Now, what this also does is brings another unwanted effect to your client. Your client's now wondering, well, what is the floor here? I saw the guy had a cash grab, and without even me asking, he lowered his price. If I start hard negotiating him, how low will he go? You've just created a problem here for yourself. Okay. The second thing is that we found when the guy said it's the money, again, this is the mindset. This is the Larry the Loser the mindset when they hear it's the money. All Larry the Loser hears is it is too much money. But that's not what my client told me. He said he didn't have budget to next year. So think about you. Think about your situation and whatever your company and your rules and your policies are. Let's say you got a client ready to go, and it's what is it? It's December 8th today, right? And he says, "Yeah, I want to do this. I'd like to move forward, but I'm not going to be able to pay you until January 1." Are you creative enough to come up with a solution for this? I think you are. Well, so what I have to do here is again, it's the same thing when a customer wants to think about it. When they say it's the money, I got to be smart enough to know that I really don't know what the issue is here. So here's what I got to do. I got to peel the onion back a little bit. I'm going to say things like, okay, well, what do you mean exactly by that? Or why do you feel that way? Or if he specifically brings up the money, I'm going to ask him, well, how far apart is this from your budget or what you thought you were going to spend on this? And my last thing is very, very important here. Okay, when we get these things out, before I start negotiating price, I'm going to ask my client here, is price your only concern or is there something else? It's very, very important I get this because here's what's going to happen very, very quickly. I've seen this play out. Sales rep will be working with a client. There is a pricing issue. They get that resolved. A lot of times it involves some sort of concession from the sales rep on this. And then what the client says, and oh yeah, I have this issue too. So now we start a whole new round of negotiating. And a lot of times there's a price concession associated with that. And what you find very quickly is you are negotiating against yourself. And so you see your price and your margins and your profitability go down, down, down. So folks, again, today it's the process. It's the same thing when a customer says, I want to think about it, or it's the money. We've got to give our clients space to breathe, but at the same time, we have to understand what they mean by that. That's all the time we have for today. I'll see you back here on Wednesday. Until then, keep your mind right.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 Eastern. Like, follow, share, and set your reminders. And remember, always keep your mind right.